أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم كدأب آل فرعون والذين من قبلهم كفروا بآيات الله فأخذهم الله بذنوبهم إن الله قوي شديد العقاب ذلك بأن الله لم يكن مغيرا نعمة أنعمها على قوم حتى يغيروا ما بأنفسهم وأن الله سميع عليم صدق الله العظيم. In all the Madani surahs that we have already studied, Surah Al-Baqarah, Surah Al-Imran, Surah Al-Nisa, Surah Al-Ma'idah, there were addresses to the Muslims, then references and address to the Munafiqeen, and then the Bani Israel, the Jews, the people of the book. So here in this surah also, now there is a reference to the Jews. Kadabi ala Fir'aun wal-lazina min qablihim, like the manner of people of Fir'aun and those before him. Kafaru bi ayatillah. They disbelieved the revelations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. فَأَخَذَهُمُ اللَّهُ بِذُنُوبِهِمْ. So Allah seized them due to their misdeeds and sins. إِنَّ اللَّهَ قَوِيٌّ شَدِيدُ الْعِقَابِ. Verily, certainly, Allah is qawi, all-powerful, almighty, and He is very severe in punishment. Now this one ayah refers to all the stories of the messengers of Allah that appeared in Surah Al-Araf, but making more apparent reference towards Al Fir'aun. But actually, the people of Nuh, the people of Hud, the people of Saleh, the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, to whom Hazrat Lut was sent, then people of Shu'aib, and then Al Fir'aun. But because this Al Fir'aun really, they had special relationship with the Jews, because the Jews were persecuted by them. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala delivered and saved them from their persecution. So actually now, he has been singled out, Fir'aun and his people. Qadabi ala Fir'aun. But it actually refers to all the nations who were destroyed because they didn't accept the dawah of the messengers of Allah who were sent to them. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَمْ يَكُنْ مُغَيِّرًا نِعْمَةً أَنْعَمَهَا عَلَىٰ قَوْمٍ. This is because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't change the favor with which He has blessed any nation. حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ, unless they change what is in their souls. This is a very permanent law of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sunnatullah. And we shall read it because, Surah Al-Ra'd and Surah Ibrahim, alayhi salatu wassalam, in these two surahs, this subject will be discussed in detail. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُغَيِّرُ مَا بِقَوْمٍ حَتَّى يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ. Whatever is in your souls, you have to change it. If you don't change what is within your souls, the conditions will not change. And this is the biggest blunder that all the Muslim movements of today, the so-called jihadi movements, they are missing the point here. Before purifying the souls of the people, they want that the system should be changed. How can the system be changed? The inner personalities of the people should be changed first. Their thinking should change. Their value structure should change. What did Muhammad do? I am going to discuss it tomorrow in detail. What was the process for revolution? How he revolutionized the whole society and the whole country, rather the whole peninsula of Arabia. He changed the souls of the people first. Their thinking, their structure, their beliefs, their value structure, everything was changed. So you have to change people from within. As I quoted many times, a couplet from Allama Iqbal, that this Quran, when it penetrates the inner soul of a person, he is changed from within. Chun baja dar raft, jahan digar shabad. Jahan chu digar shud, jahan digar shabad. And when the inner personality of a person changes, first of all, the whole world changes for him, because now his point of view has changed. And then this is the beginning of a revolution. So this is very important. ذَلِكَ بِأَنَّ اللَّهَ لَمْ يَكُنْ مُغَيِّرًا نِعْمَةً أَنْعَمَهَا عَلَىٰ قَوْمٍ حَتَّىٰ يُغَيِّرُوا مَا بِأَنفُسِهِمْ وَأَنَّ اللَّهَ سَمِيعٌ عَلِيمٌ. Allah is all hearing, all knowing. كَدَابِ عَلِ فِرْعَوْنَ وَالَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. Again a reference to the whole history of the messengers of Allah and their nations who were doomed. كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ. They rejected, belied the revelations of their Lord as well as the miracles that were shown to them. Ayat, it covers both the things. Because the teachings of the prophets, they are also ayat of Allah, revelations, ayatul Quran. These are ayat. But also, the miracles that were given to Hazrat Musa alayhi salatu wasalam, 9 of them. وَلَقَدْ آتَيْنَا مُوسَى 9 آيَاتٍ بَيِّنَاتٍ. 9 clear signs were given to, and we have read them in Surah Al-Araf. كَذَّبُوا بِآيَاتِ رَبِّهِمْ فَأَهْلَكْنَاهُمْ. We destroyed them. بِذُنُوبِهِمْ, due to their sins and misdeeds. وَأَغْرَقْنَا آلَ فِرْعَوْنَ وَكُلٌّ كَانُوا ظَالِمِينَ. And we drowned the people of Fir'aun, and they were the evildoers, the transgressors. إِنَّ شَرَّ الدَّوَابِّ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. Verily, the worst of the beasts on earth, animals on earth, are those humans who make kufr. What is kufr? I discussed it. This testimony of that Allah is here, Allah is our Lord, this testimony is in our souls. Our souls testify to it. We had that firm covenant with Him. Alastu bi rabbikum qalu bala. We have read it in Surah Al-Araf. So that, testimony, our souls has it in it, but we suppress it. Why? Due to our vested interests, due to our positions. We are the leaders. So they suppressed. Kufr means to hide something, kufr. To do away with something, to reject something. All these are the meanings of this word kufr. Inna sharra dawab inda Allahi alladhina kafaru fahum la yu'minun. Because they have already suppressed the testimony of their nature within themselves, they are not going to believe. Whatever you do, O Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, or whatever you do, O Muslims. Alladhina ahadta minhum. Now, the clear reference to the Jews. Because the Prophet, when he came over to Medina, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, it was a masterpiece of his, statesmanship. If you read the book written by Montgomery Watt, Muhammad at Medina, he wrote the biography of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam in 2 volumes. Muhammad at Makkah, Muhammad at Medina. Although there was a trick, a very subtle, trick in it. But I don't want to go into that detail. But, he uses all the words of praise in English language in superlative form for Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. His statesmanship, his far sight, his understanding of the situation. And one of the things that he cites is that he immediately on reaching Medina, he concluded treaties with all the 3 tribes of Jews who were living round about Medina. He, just had them in the fold of that Misaq Medina. And a joint defense treaty was concluded with them. This is very important. But what happened? These people, they concluded the treaty, but secretly they were violating it. They were sending messages to Quraysh, come, or you invade, and we shall help from within. So they were doing it. Now this is the reference to this character of theirs. Alladhina ahadta minhum. Those of them with whom you had a treaty, ahad. Summa yanquduna ahdahum. And they are breaking their treaty, their covenant, fi kulli marratin, every time. Whenever there is time of mischief, they don't, keep their words, go back on their words. Wahum la yattaqoon. And they have no fear of Allah. And they don't care for anything. فَإِمَّا تَسْقَفَنَّهُمْ فِي الْحَرْبِ. So if you find them and if you encounter them in the battlefield, فَشَرِّدْ بِهِمْ مَنْ خَلْفَهُمْ, so disperse through them those who are behind them. Give them the worst punishment, so that people who are behind, who are sitting back in Medina, who are pulling the ropes, they get terrified, So that is the philosophy of punishments in Islam also. The punishments in Islam, exemplary. Why? Cut off the hand, so that now theft will be eliminated from the society. In the same way, all these punishments, they seem to be very, to others they call it, they are very cruel, very harsh. But actually, crime cannot be eradicated. Now it is proved. There can be no higher level of education than the level you have in America. But has this education and all this, has it eradicated crime from your society? Most heinous crime is there. You can't reform this society. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has prescribed. In the same way, to those enemies of Allah, whomsoever you find in the battlefield, give him the severest punishment, so that it terrifies those who are sitting behind in Medina, and they also get the message through them. فَإِمَّا تَسْقَفَنَّهُمْ فِي الْحَرْبِ فَشَرِّدْ بِهِمْ مَنْ خَلْفَهُمْ لَعَلَّهُمْ يَذَّكَّرُونَ, so that they may be admonished and they think twice before taking any step against you. وَإِمَّا تَخَافَنَّ مِنْ قَوْمٍ خِيَانَةً, this is also very important. Every ayah of Quran is important. Someone from one aspect, the other from some other aspect, but every word of Allah is most important. إِمَّا تَخَافَنَّ مِنْ قَوْمٍ خِيَانَةً, if you fear a treachery from any group with whom you have a treaty, well, you are faithful, you are fulfilling all the conditions of your side of the treaty, but you feel that the other party is treacherous, it's not keeping its terms of treaty. فَانْبِذْ إِلَيْهِمْ عَلَى سَوَاءٍ, so throw back to them their treaty on equity basis. إِنَّ اللَّهَ لَا يُحِبُّ الْخَائِنِينَ, verily Allah doesn't like the treacherous ones. Now what's the message in this ayah? If you keep the treaty and take any step against that group or nation or tribe, this is treacherous. If you want and you decide that you have to take some action against them, first of all, declare that no treaty between you and us now. This is the character of the Muslims. Not treachery, having a treaty legally and under the table, fighting each other. This behoves of non-Muslims but not of Muslims. Whenever you have a treaty and you feel that the other party is not keeping the treaty, but also not declaring that the treaty is finished, but you, before taking any step against them, you must declare that now this treaty stands annulled. Then you take the step. وَلَا يَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا سَبَقُوا أَنَّهُمْ لَا يُعْجَزُونَ. And these people who have rejected the faith, because the Jews rejected the faith, although they knew Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the prophet of Allah, يَعْرِفُونَهُ كَمَا يَعْرِفُونَ أَبْنَاءَهُمْ, we have read it so many times. So they rejected knowingly. لَا يَحْسَبَنَّ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا سَبَقُوا, they don't think they will escape. إِنَّهُمْ لَا يُعْجِزُونَ, they are not going to overcome or outwit or outdo Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Makrullah, they can't keep them safe from that. وَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ, and O believers, keep ready with you. أَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ, prepare against them. مَسْتَطَعْتُمْ مِنْ قُوَّةٍ, all the force that you can gather, which is in your power. Now this appears to be somewhat contradictory. You have faith in Allah, so Allah will look after everything. Allah will take care of it. No. You have to do whatever you can. You don't leave any stone unturned. You have to do whatever you can do. Then have faith in Allah. There is a very beautiful incident of the life of the Prophet ﷺ. A Bedouin came to see him, and he didn't tie the knee of the she-camel he was riding, just left her as free and stepped into the mosque to meet the Prophet ﷺ. And he asked, why didn't you tie the knee of the she-camel? He said, I have faith in Allah. I have trust in Allah. The Prophet said, no, go back. Aqilha, summa tawakkal. Go and tie the knee and then have faith in Allah and confidence in Allah. Whatever you can do, you have to do. But don't think that you can do anything only through your own power or your own, endeavors. Blessings of Allah are required. Finally, everything rests with Him. His decision, that will be implemented. وَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ وَمِن رِبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ. And also the steeds of war. Today, the tanks you should have, all the things, everything you must have with you as much as you can. And here let me mention, the atomic capability is a very big blessing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave to Pakistan. And these people are very fearful, lest we can prepare and we explode an atomic bomb. Although they have it, they say, this is exclusive right of ours, we can have it. We are mature enough, we won't misuse it. But you are not dependable people, you may misuse it. So that is actually, we are not grateful to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we shall be brought to the book. We gave you this capability, and this capability came to Pakistan miraculously. We couldn't get it. It was from Allah's grace that we got it. But all the pressure on that country, that you stop it, you cap it, you take it, roll it back, and so on. It's going on. But Allah's command is different. Whatever you can do, you must prepare and you must keep ready. وَعِدُّوا لَهُمْ مَسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ وَمِن رِبَاطِ الْخَيْلِ تُرْهِبُونَ بِهِ عَدُوَّ اللَّهِ. So that you terrorize with these things the enemies of Allah, وَعَدُوَّكُمْ, and your enemies. Your enemies are Allah's enemies. Allah's enemies are your enemies. You are with Allah, and Allah is with you. وَآخَرِينَ مِن دُونِهِمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَهُمْ اللَّهُ يَعْلَمُهُمْ. And there are others beside them whom you don't know, Allah knows. You have a fifth columnist, people here in your society. When they will see that Muslims are very ready, then they will also be terrorized, and they won't be able to take any courage against you, to show any courage and take any action against you. So you have to remain prepared and gather whatever force of whatever kind is possible, you must have at your disposal. وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ شَيْءٍ. And because for this preparation you need money, you need funds, you need finances. For that the encouragement. وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ شَيْءٍ فَفِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ يُوَفَّى إِلَيْكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تُظْلَمُونَ. Whatever you will spend in the way of Allah to procure all these things, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give you fully, reward you fully. يُوَفَّى إِلَيْكُمْ. It will be repaid you in full. وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تُظْلَمُونَ. And you will not be wronged. وَإِنْ جَنَحُوا لِلسَّلْمِ فَانْجَحْ لَهَا. And if these people, if they incline to peace, فَانْجَحْ لَهَا, you also incline. Because if they want a peace, okay, have peace with them and have a treaty with them. وَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ. And then you have faith in Allah, that if they are making this treaty dishonestly, they want to do something else, Allah will take care of them. But if you feel that they are going to do something wrong, then first of all, you throw the treaty on their faces, and then only you can take this step. Your moral level must be much higher than their moral level. It should be visible to the people. What's the moral level of the Muslims, and what's the moral level of the Jews and the mushrikeen of Makkah. وَإِن يُرِيدُوا يَخْدَعُوكَ. The same thing which I have already said. If they intend to deceive you, فَإِنَّ حَسْبَكَ اللَّهُ. So then Allah is sufficient for you. He will take care of them all. هُوَ الَّذِي أَيَّدَكَ بِنَصْرِهِ وَبِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ. It is He, Jalla Jalaluhu wa Amma Nawaluhu. It is He who has strengthened you with His own help and with the Muslims. He has provided you these companions. He has provided you these volunteers who are ready to sacrifice everything, who are ready to lay down their lives, who cherish death in the way of Allah. Shahadat hai matloob wa maqsood mu'min, na male ghanimat na kishwar kushayi. Whom have given you these people? Allah has given you. So Allah helps you directly, And this is Allah's help which has come to you, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, through these companions, these fellows, your helpers. Because what happened to Moses, we have read in Surah Al-Ma'idah. When he called upon his people, now go and fight for the cause of Allah, they said, clearly replied, no, we are not going to move. We are sitting here. You go and take your Lord with you, and take your staff also with you, and go and drive them out from this country, and then we shall only enter this country. But Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam got the companions who were ready to lay down their lives. وَإِن يُرِيدُوا أَن يَخْدَعُوكَ فَإِنَّ حَسْبَكَ اللَّهُ هُوَ الَّذِي أَيَّدَكَ بِنَصْرِهِ وَبِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ وَأَلَّفَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِهِمْ. And another special favor that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has done on you, He has brought the hearts of your companions together, united them. They are more than real brothers. وَلَوْ أَنْفَقْتَ مَا فِي الْأَرْضِ جَمِيعًا مَا أَلَّفْتَ بَيْنَ قُلُوبِهِمْ. Had you spent all the wealth that is in this world, you could not have united their hearts. Iman has united them. Bunyanun marsus. Now they are like a reinforced structure. No breach, no dispute. No money could have brought about that type of unity which Iman has brought. لو أنفقت ما في الأرض جميعا ما ألفت بين قلوبهم ولكن الله ألف بينهم. It is Allah who has united their hearts. إنه عزيز حكيم. Verily, He is all powerful and He is all wise. يا أيها النبي حسبك الله ومن اتبعك من المؤمنين. O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for you Allah is sufficient, and for those also who are following you. Now this ayah can be translated in two ways. Allah is sufficient for you also and for your followers also. And Allah and your followers are sufficient for you. The second meaning is more, according to the text. Because we found in the former ayah, هُوَ الَّذِي أَيَّدَكَ بِنَصْرِهِ وَبِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala strengthened you with His own help and with these mu'mins, with these people. So in the same way, Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu hasbukallahu wa man ittaba'aka minal mu'minin. For you, Allah and these believers who are following you, they are sufficient. Don't fear anything. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu harridil mu'minina 'ala al-qital. O Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam, exhort the believers to go to war in the cause of Allah, in the way of Allah. In yakum minkum 20 sabirun. If there will be from amongst you 20 persevering Muslims, yaglibu mi'atain, they will overpower 200. 1 to 10. Wa in yakum minkum mi'atun. And if there will be 100, yaglibu alfan, they will be victorious over 1,000. Min al-ladhina kafaru, from among those who have rejected the faith and who have suppressed the testimony of their own souls also. بِأَنَّهُمْ قَوْمٌ لَا يَفْقَهُونَ, because they are the people, they don't understand. The understanding of the realities of this universe enhances your power. When you know everything is in the hand of Allah, nobody can harm me anything. Now your courage, And a person again, he thinking he can do me something. He can harm me. He can bring some bad thing to me. Well, he will be fearing anybody, everybody. He will be always fearing. And the person who knows, nobody can do any harm to me. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. Ma asaba min musibatin illa bi iznillah. Nothing, no harm can come to me. They might try their best. They can't do me any harm. Now your courage, your fearlessness, it cannot be measured. So because they don't know it, this is the truth that they don't know. That nothing can be done without the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. قُلْ لَنْ يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا. In the next surah we shall read it. قُلْ لَنْ يُصِيبَنَا إِلَّا مَا كَتَبَ اللَّهُ لَنَا هُوَ مَوْلَانَا. Nothing can happen to us except that with Allah, He has decided for us. And He is our protector, He is our friend. Whatever comes from Him, it's always welcome. Even if it is death, it's okay. It's actually the gateway to heaven, the gateway to Jannah. قِيلَ ادْخُلِ الْجَنَّةِ قَالَ يَا لَيْتَ قَوْمِي يَعْلَمُونَ بِمَا غَفَرَ لِي رَبِّي وَجَعَلَنِي مِنَ الْمُكْرَمِينَ. No sooner you are dead here in the way of Allah and you enter directly to the heaven. You don't have to wait for the day of judgment. These shuhada who lay down their lives in the way of Allah, they go direct. They will not be waiting for the day of judgment to come. They go direct. So how now, what thing can terrorize a Muslim or a mu'min who is a true believer? يا أيها النبي حرض المؤمنين على القتال إن يكن منكم 20 صابرون يغلبوا 200 وإن يكن منكم 100 يغلبوا 1000 من الذين كفروا بأنهم قوم لا يفقهون. الآن خفف الله عنكم. Now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has lightened it for you. وعلم أن فيكم ضعفا, and He knows that now a weakness has started within you. Why? In the early days of the Madani period, there were no munafiqeen. But now, as time passed, this element started growing. So that was a sort of weakness. Because, after all, they were legal Muslims. They were included as Muslims. I told you many a time that nowhere in the Quran the munafiqeen had been addressed as Ya ayyuhal ladhina nafaqu, Ya ayyuhal munafiqun. You don't find these words. Because they were also legal Muslims. Whenever something is said to the munafiqeen, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu, these are the words. Because they also profess to believe. So actually, secondly, the depth of commitment of those people who came from Mecca, who had undergone all the hardships, who had passed so many examinations and tests and trials and tribulations, the depth of conviction with them, it is unimaginable. But the Ansar of Medina, because they had not passed through such tests and trials and tribulations, so that was not the case. They were not equal to the Muhajirin. So now, as time passes, taken collectively, the whole community, the average would go down. Although, as-sabiqun al-awwalun, they remain at that level. They don't go down. But, taken the community as a whole, the average will come down. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Al-ana khaffafa Allahu ankum wa alima anna fikum da'fa. He knows that there is a weakness among you. If you are from you, there are 100 who are persevering, they will overcome 200. And if from you there are 1,000, they will overcome 2,000. Bi'iznillah, with the permission of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wallahu ma'as sabirin. And Allah is with the preserving people who are persevering and who are steadfast. Ma qala linabiyyin an yakuna lahu asra. Now this is a very sensitive issue which is being discussed here. After the Muslims had won the battle of Badr, I told you 70 mushrikeen were killed. From among the Muslims only 14, 13 on the spot, and one was injured, and he died on way back to Medina. The total toll from Muslim side was 14. The Kuffar of Quraysh, 70. Another 70 were taken prisoners, captives. Now this is what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so to say, using the most, lenient words, He was displeased with it. Why did you do it? You shouldn't have taken them captives. Because the power of kufr has not been, broken up till now. If you have taken them captives, they will pay some ransom money and they'll go back. When they go back, they will again be able to come to fight against you. So actually there was a dispute, because the Prophet ﷺ, he consulted his companions what we should do with them. His own inclination, because he was Rauf and Rahim. He was very lenient, very kind. To kill them, it was something, against his nature. So he was inclined towards taking them captive and, releasing them, taking some money and so on. Abu Bakr radiallahu ta'ala anhu agreed with him, yes, this we should do. But Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he was very much against it. No. We should kill them all. So that, this strength of kufr is emaciated. It is broken. Their back should be broken. And he went to the extent that whosoever is closest in relation to any mushrik captive from among the Muslims, he should assassinate with his own hands his closest relative who has come here, who came here to fight against the Muslims and who has been taken into captive. But later on it was decided, no, we shall keep them as captives and we shall accept the ransom money and then we shall set them free. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is declaring his displeasure over this decision. And this is one of those events about which it is said, Al-Haqqu yantiqu ala lisani Umar. Kana ra'yuhu muwafiqan bil wahyi wal kitab. Rather we should say, wahi ke muwafiqan bi ra'yihi. Kana al-wahyu muwafiqan bi ra'yihi. Wahi came in agreement with his opinion. So this is the special place and cadre and level of Hazrat Umar radiyallahu ta'ala. Al-haqqu yantiqu ala lisani Umar. Ashadduhum fi amrillahi Umar. Ma kana lin-nabiyyin an yakuna lahu asra. It's not befitting for a prophet that there should be captives for him. Hatta yuskhina fil ard. Until there is sound crushing and threshing of the kufr in the land. Turidun arad ad-dunya. You intend to get the wealth of this world? Ransom money? That appears to be very attractive to you. Very harsh comments. It was actually not that the Prophet wanted some money or some wealth. It was out of mercy, out of leniency. That was the second nature of it. Twice in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has addressed him. Be harsh to these munafiqeen. Be harsh. You shouldn't be kind to these people. But because it was his nature, second nature as we call it. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu jahidil kuffara wal munafiqina waghluz alayhim. You should not be lenient to these people. You should be harsh. You have to treat them with harshness, so that the back of kufr is broken. If you are lenient, they get, some extension. They are fresh leaves of existence they are having due to your leniency. Hatta yuskhana fil turidun arad ad-dunya wallahu yuridu al-akhirah. Whereas Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala intends akhirah for you. Wallahu azizun hakim. And Allah is all powerful, almighty and all wise. Lawla kitabun min Allah sabaqa. Had it not been for an ordinance from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that had already gone before. And this refers to ayah number 4 of Surah Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, which you find in the 26th part of the Musaf. There it was given an option that whenever the strength of the kufr has been broken, then you can take captives. Now please ponder over it. Whether the back of kufr has been broken or not, it's a judgment. Maybe I think it has been broken. You think it has not been broken. If it has been broken according to my assessment, then we can have captives. If it is not broken up till now, according to your judgment, then you will say, no captives. Allah has not granted us to have captives before the back of the kufr has been broken thoroughly. So because this is the principle in ijtihad, al-mujtahid, al-mukhti, he also is rewarded. He cannot be punished. Al-mujtahid, al-musib, he gets the double reward. So it was taken to be an ijtihad of Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam and Abu Bakr radiyallahu anhu that, actually the power of kufr has been broken. So now we can take the captives. But Allah disagreed with the ijtihad. But you can't punish anybody on ijtihad. When it was their sincere opinion, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only declared his disagreement with ijtihad. You can differ from a mujtahid in his judgment, no doubt. But in ijtihad, which has been done most sincerely, earnestly, even if it is wrong, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala rewards for it. So that is the case. Lawla kitabu min Allah sabaqa. This option had been given to you from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala already in ayah number 4 of Surah Muhammad. If that had not happened, lamassakum fima akhastum azabun azim. Then what you have taken from them, on that a very mighty chastisement, a very mighty punishment would have come to you. Very stern warning. فَكُلُوا مِمَّا غَنِمْتُمْ حَلَالًا طَيِّبًا. So now you eat from whatever you have from the spoils of the war. Now what has been happened to the spoils of the war? The spoils, all the things that they had at the battlefield. And now the spoils coming out of the ransom money of these captives. This is added to those spoils. فَكُلُوا مِمَّا غَنِمْتُمْ. Although Allah declared his disagreement with this decision, but because it was an ijtihad and the option was given by him, so now whatever you have got, you can eat it, you can use it, you can consume it. Halalan tayyiba. It is permissible for you, it is good for you. Wattaqullaha inna Allaha ghafurur rahim. Have taqwa of Allah. And verily Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is forgiving and merciful. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu qul liman fi aydikum min al-asra. O Prophet, say to these people who are in your hands from among the captives, in ya'lamillahu fi qulubikum khairan. If Allah knows and if Allah finds that within your hearts there is some good, yu'tikum khairan mimma ukhiza minkum. He will give you better and more than what has been taken from you. Now please keep one point in mind. Some of the people of Quraysh who had come to fight against the Muslims at Badr, they were forced to do it because of the tribal system. They didn't want to go to war against the Muslims. There could be someone who had hidden in their hearts the iman, the faith also. But because they had not declared it there, had they declared it, they would have had to make the migration, the hijrah. So because they were not so much, motivated by iman, that they were ready to leave their homes and hearts and, the land of their ancestors, where the ancestors were lying buried. So that was not, the depth of conviction was not up to that level. So they remained at Makkah. When they remained at Makkah, they had to come under the tribal system. Now because the tribe is going to fight against somebody, some enemy, you have to go. So there were certain people, And according to some traditions, perhaps Hazrat Abbas, the uncle of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was also among them. So, and there could be others also. So, now if Allah knows that in your hearts there is something good, but because you have not up till now declared your iman, you came to fight the Muslims along with the kuffar, so law will take its course. You will be treated at par with the unbeliever captives, and you will have to pay the ransom. But Allah will reward you, Allah will repay you in His own ways. He will compensate. Ya ayyuhan nabiyyu qul liman fi aydikum min al-asra in ya'lamillahu fi qulubikum khairan yu'tikum khairan mimma ukhidha minkum. Well, His prayers are very vast. He can compensate to you in many other forms. Wa yaghfir lakum, and He will forgive you. Wallahu ghafurur rahim, and Allah is forgiving, merciful. Wa in yuridu khiyanataka, and if somebody now says that I am Muslim, I came only because I was forced to come here, so please forgive me and let me go scot-free. Wa in yuridu khiyanataka faqad khanu Allah min qabl. They have committed, treachery with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala also. If somebody is making treachery, he is treacherous in his behavior. فَأَمْكَنَ مِنْكُمْ, so Allah has given you power over them. وَاللَّهُ عَلِيمٌ حَكِيمٌ, and verily He is all-knowing, all-wise. إن الذين آمنوا وهاجروا وجاهدوا بأموالهم وأنفسهم في سبيل الله والذين آووا ونصروا أولئك بعضهم أولياء بعض. Verily and certainly those who came to believe, وهاجروا, and who migrated, وجاهدوا بأموالهم وأنفسهم في سبيل الله, and they strived in the way of Allah to their utmost with their belongings and their lives. وَالَّذِينَ آوَوْا وَنَصَرُوا, and those who gave them refuge and helped them. Now the Muslim society up till that time, it was composed of two distinct parts at Medina, Muhajirin and the Ansar of Medina. And although Muhammad ﷺ had made them brothers, one from the Muhajirin, the other from Ansar, and they were declared as brothers. And they divided their homes, they divided their shops. Even, one Ansari, he took his Muhajir brother to his house. He had two wives. He said, you select which one you like, because, the commandments about hijab, they have not been revealed up till now. They were going to be revealed several years later in Surah An-Nur and Surah Al-Ahzab. So there was no wheeling and all these things, segregation, etc. It was a mixed society. So he took the brother to the home. I have two wives. You select. I will divorce her so that you can marry her. Because the Prophet has declared that you are my brother. And I can't, bear that you live without a wife. And I have two wives with me. So that was the bond of friendship. But still, these were the two distinctly separate sections of this society. And Quran is also mentioned separately. And here, the level is different. Because those people who had migrated, left their families and homes and everything behind, they were definitely at a very higher level regarding the depth of commitment, regarding their love for Allah. And actually, before the Battle of Badr, the 8 expeditions, which I shall explain inshallah next Friday evening when I go into details of Ghazwa Badr, the Prophet sent only the Muhajirin in 8 expeditions. Badr was the first expedition in which Ansar were also included. They were never asked to go out to fight in the way of Allah. All the 8 expeditions, 4 of them Saraya, in which the Prophet didn't go himself, only some groups were sent. And 4 of them Ghazawat, in which the Prophet also participated. But in all 8 of them, no Ansari from Medina was included. So that is why these words are coming for the Muhajirs here. Inna allazina amanu wa hajaru wa jahadu bi amwalihim wa anfusihim fi sabilillah. Up till now only they were striving and they were fighting for the cause of Allah, going out, to meet the enemy. وَالَّذِينَ آوَوْا وَنَصَرُوا. Now the second section is who gave them the refuge, who accommodated them in their homes and businesses, etc., etc. And they were the Ansar, they helped them. بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. Now they are friends to each other. They are protectors of each other. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَّمْ يُهَاجِرُوا مَا لَكُمْ مِنْ وَلَايَتِهِمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. And as for those who had Iman, who said the Shahada, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, they became Muslim, but they didn't immigrate. They didn't come. We have read these things in much detail in Surah An-Nisa. This discussion, this subject has been discussed. But Surah An-Nisa was going to be revealed several years later after this surah. This, as I told you, was revealed in the second year after Hijrah, just after the Battle of Badr. Surah An-Nisa, that was either in the 5th or the 6th year after Hijrah. So here is the first pronouncement regarding this. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَلَمْ يُهَاجِرُوا مَا لَكُمْ مِنْ وَلَايَتِهِمْ مِنْ شَيْءٍ. Those of you who come to believe, who accept the faith, but they don't immigrate to Medina, you are not responsible for their protection in anything until they immigrate. وَإِنِ اسْتَنْصَرُوكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ فَعَلَيْكُمُ النَّصْرُ. But if they want and they ask for your help, it's incumbent upon you that you help them. But there is an exception. Illa ala qawmin bainakum wa bainahum misaq. Except against the nation or tribe with whom you have a treaty. For example, you know, there are some Muslims in some tribe. They are being persecuted. They call the Muslims to help. Now there are two conditions possible. If this tribe has no treaty with Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, or the Muhammad has not concluded any treaty against this tribe, with this tribe, then you can take an action, helping the Muslims of that tribe. But if you have a treaty with that tribe, now you are barred from it. Now you can't help. Although they are Muslims, although they want your help, although they, are asking for your help. But because they have not immigrated, why have they stayed back? When they have stayed back, they have not immigrated, they lose the right that they must be protected. Okay, if the tribe has no treaty, actually, then the help can be given, but not if you have a treaty with them. وَإِنِ اسْتَنْصَرُوكُمْ فِي الدِّينِ فَعَلَيْكُمُ النَّصْرُ إِلَّا عَلَىٰ قَوْمٍ بَيْنَكُمْ وَبَيْنَهُم مِّيثَاقٌ وَاللَّهُ بِمَا تَعْمَلُونَ بَصِيرٌ. And whatever you are doing, Allah is seeing it. وَالَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ بَعْضٍ. As for those who have rejected the faith, who have suppressed the testimony of their souls and belied what Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was conveying to them, بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلِيَاءُ, they are friends and protectors to each other. إِلَّا تَفْعَلُوهُ تَكُنْ فِتْنَةٌ فِي الْأَرْضِ وَفَسَادٌ كَبِيرٌ. If you don't do this, there will be much disturbance in the land. What does it mean? If you ignore the treaty and go to help the Muslims of that tribe, while you had the treaty with the tribe, it is going to disturb the things. The system has to be kept. If you have made a treaty, you can't help the Muslims over there. You have to do it. Now this ayah, last but one. But this completes the definition of a true mu'min. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَهَاجَرُوا وَجَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آوَوا وَنَصَرُوا أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَرِزْقٌ كَرِيمٌ. And those who accepted the faith, who responded positively to the call of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then they immigrated. They left their homes and hearts and the land of their ancestors. وَجَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. And they strived in the way of Allah. وَالَّذِينَ آوَوا وَنَصَرُوا. And those who gave them refuge and they helped them. أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا. And they are the true mu'mins. لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَرِزْقٌ كَرِيمٌ. For them is the maghfirah, the pardoning, the forgiving, and a very honorable provision in the hereafter. Now you refer to the ayah number 2 and 3. Ayah number 2 and 3 of this surah. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ إِذَا ذُكِرَ اللَّهُ وَجِلَتْ قُلُوبُهُمْ وَإِذَا تُلِيَتْ عَلَيْهِمْ آيَاتُهُ زَادَتْهُمْ إِيمَانًا وَعَلَىٰ رَبِّهِمْ يَتَوَكَّلُونَ الَّذِينَ يُقِيمُونَ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا لَهُمْ دَرَجَاتٌ عِندَ رَبِّهِمْ وَمَغْفِرَةٌ وَرِزْقٌ كَرِيمٌ. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَهَاجَرُوا وَجَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آوَوا وَنَصَرُوا أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا لَهُمْ مَغْفِرَةٌ وَرِزْقٌ كَرِيمٌ. And this is to which I was referring as 3 dimensions of the personality of mu'min. One is the internal, esoteric element. Iman, khashiyah, fear of Allah, fear of standing before Him on the day of judgment. Amma man khafa maqama rabbihi wa nahan nafsa anil hawa. When Allah is remembered or mentioned, their hearts tremble. And when the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala are recited unto them, this increases them in faith. Their level of yaqeen and their level of conviction increases. So that is one aspect. The second aspect and the third, they are outside, outward behavior. But one outward behavior is وَيُقِيمُ الصَّلَاةَ وَمِمَّا رَزَقْنَاهُمْ يُنْفِقُونَ, establishing the prayer, and they are spending. Whatever we have provided them with, they are spending for the cause of Allah, for making the deen of Allah supreme, for spreading the message of Allah. This is one. And the other, obvious, external side of the third dimension, وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَهَاجَرُوا وَجَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آوَوا وَنَصَرُوا أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ حَقًّا. So these are the three dimensions of the personality of a mu'min. And if you want one ayah embracing all them, that is the ayah number 14 of Surah Al-Hujurat. In ayah number 13 in Surah Al-Hujurat, a distinction is made between Muslim and mu'min. قالت الأعراب آمنا قل لم تؤمنوا ولكن قولوا أسلمنا ولما يدخل الإيمان في قلوبكم. These Bedouins are claiming that we have come to believe. Tell them, O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you have not at all come to believe. Don't be mistaken. Only what you can say is that you have become Muslims. You have submitted. You have surrendered. And the true faith, true iman, لما يدخل الإيمان في قلوبكم, has not as yet entered your hearts. Now with this background, a comprehensive definition of a mu'min comes in the next ayah, ayah number 15 of Surah Al-Hujurat. إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَرْتَابُوا. This is the internal. They have the conviction, not only profession, not only saying with the tongue. Then they have no doubt. They believe in Allah and His Messenger, and they have no doubts about it. وَجَاهَدُوا بِأَمْوَالِهِمْ وَأَنفُسِهِمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ. And the second, and they strive hard in the way of Allah with their belongings and lives. So a comprehensive, إِنَّمَا الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا بِاللَّهِ وَرَسُولِهِ ثُمَّ لَمْ يَرْتَابُوا وَجَاهَدُوا بِأَمْوَالِهِمْ وَأَنفُسِهِمْ فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ أُولَٰئِكَ هُمُ الصَّادِقُونَ. Only such people are true if they claim to be true believers, real believers. Here we find, one part of it in the very beginning, the other part of it at the end. But the beauty, there also in the beginning also, first ayah was something else. يَسَأَلُونَكَ عَنِ الْأَنْفَالِ, a legal question. In the same way, the last ayah of this surah is also something relating to a legal point. There was also second and third ayah, and here also last but one. Now the last ayah. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِن بَعْدُ وَهَاجَرُوا وَجَاهَدُوا مَعَهُمْ فَأُولَٰئِكَ مِنْهُمْ. Whosoever now will believe after that. This was the beginning of the Muslim society at Medina, comprising of two parts. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَهَاجَرُوا وَجَاهَدُوا فِي سَبِيلِ اللَّهِ وَالَّذِينَ آوَوا وَنَصَرُوا. Now later on, who are now believing, later on, till the end of this world, this ayah will cover forever. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا مِن بَعْدُ وَهَاجَرُوا. And now whosoever will come to believe after that, and if they also make hijrah, وَجَاهَدُوا مَعَكُمْ, and if they also strive hard for the cause of Allah with you, فَأُولَٰئِكَ مِنْكُمْ. They will be a part and parcel of your own society. Yeah, they will also become a part and parcel. They will be from you. But وَأُولُو الْأَرْحَامِ بَعْضُهُمْ أَوْلَىٰ بِبَعْضٍ. The blood relations will remain nearer to each other. This relation of Iman is not going to cover the law, Islamic law. Inheritance won't go to a brother whom the Prophet declared to be a brother. Of an Ansari, a Muhajir is a brother, but inheritance won't go to him. That is, the legal issue. Yeah, they are brothers, you are brothers. You must love each other more than the real brothers. But the law will take the precedence. And وَأُولُو الْأَرْحَامِ بَعْضُكُمْ أَوْلَىٰ بِبَعْضٍ فِي كِتَابِ اللَّهِ. And this word kitab usually comes in Quran for the legal structure of Islam. كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمْ كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمْ. Kitaban, hatta yablugha al-kitabu ajalah. So all these words, in different places, kitab mostly refers to the legal teachings of Quran. As regards the legal structure, ulul arham ba'dhum awla bi ba'dhin. Now these relatives, they are closer to each other. These blood relations, the womb relation of the wombs of the mothers. You are brothers because you were born of the same mother. But you are brothers because you are also Muslim, he is also Muslim. You are a Muhajir and he is a Ansari. But this brothership is something else. That brothership is something else. Inna Allah bi kulli shay'in alim. Verily Allah knows everything. He is aware of everything. Here this surah ends. Now let me give you, in the few minutes that are left, some basic things about Surah At-Tawbah. Surah At-Tawbah, as I told you in the beginning, when I was giving you the introductory remarks about Surah Al-Anfal, this Surah Al-Mubarakah is the last, at least, of the long Madani surahs. There are smaller Madani surahs. For example, we shall find 10 of them, starting from Surah Al-Hadid to Surah Al-Tahrim. There are 10 surahs, Madani surahs, but they are small. 2 sections, 3 sections, only one has 4 sections. The long surahs, Al-Baqarah, Al-Imran, Al-Nisa, Al-Ma'idah, Al-Anfal also, because 10 sections. Then we have Surah An-Nur, there's also some, but 9 sections perhaps. Then again, Surah Al-Ahzab. But the last to be revealed among these large Madani surahs is Surah At-Tawbah. But the difficulty most of the translators have faced, and some of the interpreters and the Mufassirin of our time, they are mistaken. They don't know that there is a division of the ayat of this surah regarding the time of their revelation. This surah consists of 3 parts. Ayat, first 6 ayat, 1 to 6, and then 25 to 37. They were revealed near the end of the 9th year after Hijrah, just before the pilgrimage, when the Prophet ﷺ had sent already people from Medina, 300 of them. They left Medina as a caravan, and Hazrat Abu Bakr radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was made the chief of that caravan. The Prophet himself was not accompanying. He went for the first time and the last time next year, that is the 10th year after Hijrah. So that caravan of Hajj had departed. At that time, these ayat 1 to 6 and 25 to 37 were revealed. Then from 7 to 24, they were revealed much earlier, more than a year earlier, before the victory of Badr, and it was in the 8th year after Hijrah. Victory of Makkah in the 8th year after Hijrah. So these 2 sections, comprising of ayat 7 to 24, they were revealed before the victory of Makkah. The rest of the surah from 38th ayat till the end, this was revealed during the period extending from Rajab to Zi-Qa'dah of Sun 9, year 9 after Hijrah, when, number 1, preparation was being made for this battle of and journey of Tabuk. Then the journey towards Tabuk, then the stay at Tabuk, then the coming back from Tabuk to Medina, and some ayat after arrival in Medina. This is a long period, a few months, from Rajab to Zi-Qa'dah. And that is, the time of revelation of ayat number 38 to the end of the surah. So I wanted to give you this analysis only, and tomorrow, inshallah, we shall study the surah At-Tawbah. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-Azim, wa nafa'ni wa iyyakum bil ayati wa zikr al-hakim.